Welcome to Beyond the News. I'm Faye. Recently, the Australian investigative reporter Markson revealed in her new book what really happened in Wuhan, that as early as February 24, 2020, the Chinese military scientist Zhou Yusen applied for patent for a vaccine against the COVID-19. In the public's impression, the first outbreak of the epidemic from Wuhan was in November 2019. It was only on January 20, 2020 that the CCP publicly admitted the outbreak. And until March 11, 2020, the WHO announced the outbreak. So the Chinese military scientist Zhou Yusen could develop a vaccine within 3 months after the outbreak, 5 weeks after the CCP confirmed the epidemic to the world, and before the WHO declared the pandemic. Generally speaking, even the fastest development of a vaccine will take at least half a year. So with some simple math, it means that some people from within the CCP started to develop the coronavirus vaccine before August 2019. But the epidemic was not yet broken out until November 2019. They started developing the vaccine before the outbreak? Really? A picture used in a report by the party media CCTV in May, revealing a bit more of the sinister fact. What is the production date of the vaccine in this picture? February 26, 2020. Exactly 2 days after Zhou Yusen applied for the patent. The vaccine in the picture was jointly developed by CanSino Biologics and the Chen Wei team of PLA Military Academy. So in February 2020, Chen Wei had already made the vaccine, and Zhou Yusen was rushing to apply for a patent, indicating that he also made it. That means, in less than 3 months after the outbreak, China has at least 2 new types of coronavirus vaccine. Based on the 6 months fastest speed vaccine development, before August 2019, the military scientists of the Chinese Communist Party were competing with each other developing the coronavirus vaccines. If they hadn't predicted in advance, maybe with a superhuman power, that the virus is about to come, then all these would have been arranged in advance. Where would the virus start? When would it be released? How would it spread in society? And how would it be defended with vaccines? The suspicion is obvious, and the development of these Chinese vaccines is obviously limited to the military personnel. The patent-applied Zhou Yusen and Chen Wei are both well-known CCP secret agents who successfully penetrated pharmaceutical industry for many years. Zhou Yusen has both the US and China research background. He was engaged in medical postdoc research at the University of Pittsburgh in the United States, cooperated with the New York Blood Center, and later entered the Chinese military, worked closely with Chen Wei, Shi Zhenli, and some American scientists, and won many awards. Lawrence Sellen, a well-known retired US Army colonel and technology command and control expert, said these scientists with a Chinese military background have penetrated the United States over the years and have established a huge network in the US virus research industry using US research resources, funds, personnel, and technology for the CCP's military virus research. Those useful idiots in the United States don't know that in China there's no difference between military and civilian research, and they actively participated in it. Fauci is a typical example, but by no means the only one. In one of our previous episodes, we talk about how the NIH, under the leadership of Fauci, had sent money to the Wuhan Institute of Virology every year since establishment. American elites have been played, and the CCP is fulfilling its own agenda. Speaking of profit, it seems to be reflected in the vaccine dispute between Zhou Yusen and Chen Wei. Why do I say dispute? We just said Zhou Yusen submitted a patent application on February 24, and Chen Wei's vaccine was produced 2 days later. Does Chen Wei not want the patent? Of Of course she does. However, Chen Wei applied for a patent on March 18, and China's first new vaccine patent finally came to Chen Wei in August. Then what about Zhou Yusen, who applied before her? He was dead. In May last year, Zhou Yusen passed away suddenly from unknown reasons. Quite bizarre, isn't it? And even more suspiciously, for such a respected military scientist, we did not see any official reports or condolences on him, and the news of his death was hidden for 2 months. It was not exposed until July, and was just with one sentence, deceased. While feeling sorrowful, one can't help but wonder whether his death was not that innocent. A bold guess, will Zhou Yusen and Chen Wei compete for vaccine patents? Will there be huge benefits involved? A clue worthy of attention is CanSino, a company developed and produced in cooperation with Chen Wei, has been losing money since establishment in 2009. When it was listed in Hong Kong in March 2019, the stock price was flat. But in November 2019, the widely recognized time of the outbreak, which was also 3 months before the vaccine jointly developed with Chen Wei started its production, the stock price of CanSino suddenly skyrocketed. In August 2020, 2 days after obtaining the patent, CanSino officially listed on the domestic A-share Science and Technology Innovation Board, and the stock price had soared all the way. And you can feel the huge benefits involved with the different changes. Of course, I have no intention of linking Zhou Yusen's death with Chen Wei. I just show you as much evidence behind this as possible so you can come to a conclusion. Do you have any conclusion? Just leave a message to share with me. Speaking of this, we are coming to the main point, which is whether the new coronavirus is a biological weapon that the CCP conspired to leak. Historically, the CCP has leaked biological weapons before. Why do I say that? There's a book called Biohazard written by Ellie Baker, who is the highest level Soviet biological warfare defector expert. In his book, back in 1980s, the Communist Party of Soviet Union, under the leadership of Gorbachev, vigorously developed biological weapons, regardless of the world's convention on the prohibition of biological weapons. And it would also monitor global biological weapons research and development. When a Soviet spy satellite looked down on China, it discovered in a remote area there was a place suspected to be a large biological weapons factory. Soon, the KGB intelligence personnel discovered evidence. This place suddenly saw 2 viral internal hemorrhage epidemics, including Marburg fever and a terrible Ebola virus. Both of these are unique to Africa and do not seem to be a local infectious disease. In the end, Soviet analysts concluded that these diseases were caused by an accidental leak in the laboratory where the Chinese Communist Party weaponized the virus. After Ali Beg's book was published, the Chinese embassy in the United States received many inquiries about that location in that period of history, but there were no answers, as usual, and I could hardly find any relevant information on the internet now. If the incident described by Ali Beg is true, and the analysis from the Soviet intelligence personnel is true, then the CCP's history of studying biological weapons goes much earlier than we could thought, and there have even been the consequences of leaks leading to the spread of the virus. Different from international concerns about the mass destruction of biological weapons on humans, the CCP has always shown its enthusiasm for the biological weapons research and development. In 2017, Zhang Shibo, the president of the China National Defense University, designated biological weapons as a new type of military strategy in the field of his book, New Highlands of War, stating that the biotechnology revolution will lead the new round of military revolution. And today's advances in biotechnology have made it possible to create new, more toxic, infectious, and resistant synthetic pathogens, etc. Many, not to mention one by one. And believe it or not, the CCP is already at the forefront of the research on new biological weapons, such as genetic modification and cloning. There are many reasons behind it, but the most direct one is, in the Western world, this kind of research involving ethics and moral standards involving unknown harm to humans, people are rarely able to conduct in-depth research because it is restricted by law, while China is only restricted by industry norms. And there won't be any restriction if you are doing what the CCP is asking you to do, right? Moreover, this kind of biological weapons research, which has no moral bottom line and is dedicated to expanding power and desire, will only become the seed of devil, bring only disasters and risks to the world without any benefit. Do you agree with me? If you do, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Alright, that's all for today. Let me know your thoughts on the Wuhan lab leak theory. Thank you for watching today's Beyond the News. I'm Faye. Until next time.